Hello, my name is Anne, your guide to an animal's get even. If you like bloodthirsty animals getting back at humanity, then you bet Giraffe it is a good idea to subscribe now. Today's animal has some thoughts about constantly being asked, "How's the weather up there?" It's giraffes. We'll start in Zimbabwe. Daniel and Laura were on their way to their hotel when they saw two giraffes. They were with a local guide who told them, "Yeah, go ahead, take some pictures." They were doing exactly what they were told to do, not getting too close, just taking pictures, not making a bunch of sounds, not being disruptive to the animal, essentially. The trouble starts when, out of the corner of his eye, Daniel saw a third giraffe approaching, and he's pretty comfortable with animal body language, had kind of experience with it, able to tell when they're being hostile. And he didn't notice anything like that going on with this giraffe. There was no stomping, blowing, laying his head down. There was nothing to indicate he was feeling aggressive or defensive or anything like that. So imagine Daniel's surprise when this giraffe swings its head and hits him right in the chest. Now giraffes actually use their necks to fight, so it wasn't that surprising that that's how it went about this interaction. Daniel was pretty sure he was about to exit this life when the giraffe lifted up its right hoof, but his wife, who was about 10 feet away and was playing dead, had dropped her purse, and that actually distracted the giraffe. Said giraffe smashed the purse and it exploded. Which, I mean, if you don't know this, women keep a lot of different things in their purses. They keep anything from cosmetics like lipstick, eyeliner, mascara, touch-up, whatever, to hand sanitizer, a little container of like any sort of ailment you could possibly have, pills, sprays, perfume spritzes up, wallets, keys, even like little mini water bottles. Like, we keep a lot in our purse. I personally try to get purses that can carry hand sanitizer, lip balm like chapstick, my wallet, my Nintendo Switch, and a book at the same time. So this purse explodes. With this distraction, Daniel was able to get up, grab his wife, and hoof it out of there. Daniel did get a 3-inch cut on his head, but he was otherwise okay. They did see the exact same giraffe later in that day and declined to try and take any more pictures. Personally, I have a feeling the giraffe was not interested in further confrontation, but I don't really know if giraffes hold grudges and, take it with a grain of salt, right? We also have so many times where people do the wrong thing when it comes to looking at a wild animal, but these two actually did everything right, and it still went sideways on them. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's worth the risk getting a picture of a wild animal, or just like, don't bother? Let me know in the comments. I am curious, because I'm torn on it myself. I feel like it would be really hard to resist trying to get a picture from a safe distance, paying attention to how the animal's responding to me, versus like forcing myself to walk away, just because it can be a really powerful experience. That's just me. So I want to know what you guys think. All right, here we have an unconfirmed, of course I got something in my eye right then, as soon as I started. All right, so now we have an unconfirmed but probable case. South Africa, this guy goes to take a bike ride on his own near the lodge he's staying at and never comes back. So people go looking for him and they find him, and it looks like he's been trampled by a giraffe. His bike is laying quite a bit of ways, and I guess that I don't know, I guess giraffes have like a very identifiable hoof pattern or mark, or maybe it was the amount of damage. I I don't know. I just know that they thought it was probably a giraffe. So then we have a tour guide and her 16-month-old. So what they believe happened is that a giraffe was attempting to protect its calf. Since the attack came without warning, it is, like, the full circumstances surrounding all of it are unknown. The mother and child were rushed to the ER. Unfortunately, the toddler succumbed to her injuries. The mom went into the ICU. And, if that happened to me, I wouldn't really be going out of my way to explain the exact nuances of what had happened to lead up to it. I think probably there's too much surrounding it. Because, like, a mother animal attacking another mother animal and just all of the pain of losing a child and just, We don't need to know the full circumstances of that one. We know what happened, right? So the next one is another mother and child attacked. And again, it seemed to be a giraffe that was protecting her own calf. So I don't know what it is about giraffe moms finding other moms to be threatening, but apparently that's a thing. A female scientist and her young son were attacked 150 yards from their actual home. The only reason they were saved is because the scientist's husband came home, clocked the situation, and scared the giraffe off. Both mother and son were okay. After, their stint in the ER, they're alive, they're okay. And you'd think that the husband would be, like, understandably bitter about it, but he's also a scientist, and apparently, he kind of saw it as, like, unfortunate act of nature, like, wrong place, wrong time, because, again, this was a mother giraffe trying to protect her calf, and maybe I should have done a little more into this. I don't really know, like, the deep dive of, like, what a giraffe finds threatening, because, nothing really got into it. It didn't really get explained as to why they would find that particular circumstance to be something threatening to their offspring. So, sorry, I wish I had more for you there. So, you might think a giraffe would fight with the two bony protrusions on its head called ossicones. They look like little horns. And ossicones aren't like keratin. It's not like fingernails and stuff like that, like with a rhino. Ossicones are actually hardened cartilage. So think like a shark, but with armor. Because we all know sharks are made of, cartilage, essentially. But this is cartilage that is calcified, so it's hard as a rock. And it's covered in, like, skin and hair, obviously, because it's just on top of their head. And they don't actually use that at all when they're fighting each other. They just use their necks, like I mentioned before, swinging them, fighting, thrashing. Real metalheads they are. The neck alone weighs about 600 pounds. Yeah. Male giraffes typically get, and I think they max out, but it might just be average, 18 feet tall. So, that's tall. That's why people are always asking them, how's the weather up there? Because that's so tall. That's a whole nother, layer of the world. And they weigh about 3,000 pounds. Which is also a lot. Females get about 14 feet tall, and they weigh, half of that. They weigh, 1,500 pounds. And I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If any animal has that much of a weight difference on you, don't pick a fight with it. UFC makes you fight in very specific weight ranks, because apparently it's not really sporting if you're fighting someone a lot bigger than you. And I would say it's not very sporting to have to fight a giraffe. So, don't mess with them. The next animal attack is in South Africa, where the subspecies of giraffe there is aptly named the southern giraffe. Scientists can be so creative, and they can also be things like the southern giraffe. So this next one involves a filmmaker. This is a hard one because, you feel bad, but then you find out the details and you're kind of maybe I don't feel as bad because, you shouldn't have been doing that. Carlos was a filmmaker, and he was making a film. He was with his crew, and they were shooting a German film at a wildlife facility. I don't know why the fact that it was a German movie was important, but it seemed important in every report about it. So the giraffe was named Gerald, and Carlos got too close to him, which he did not appreciate. So Gerald swings his neck at Carlos, knocks him into the air, and he ends up just flying and sustaining lethal head trauma. There's some interesting facts in play with this. The facility it was done at has stated that the filming was supposed to be over. Like, the giraffes, all of the animals were being moved back to their stalls, stables, homes. I'm not sure exactly what the setup was for them. I think it was stalls. And Gerald had actually been in the process of being moved off-set. According to the reports, Carlos decided to get additional footage of Gerald, and he did this without asking anyone. Apparently he didn't follow any of the safety protocols that were in place, and just kind of like ignored all the guidelines. The rest of the crew that witnessed it said that none of them were very concerned because Gerald just seemed inquisitive. And I don't know how many of them actually had a good grasp of animal body language. I'm not, blaming them, but I'm just thinking, like, you attributed inquisitiveness to an animal instead of favoring caution. So anytime an animal seems inordinately interested, I don't call that being inquisitive. I call that, you need to, back off. You need to protect yourself. You need to take stock. Because, yeah, there's times, and that is what it is. The animal's just interested, right? They're just curious. There's lots of times when that's not the case. So, they paid no mind to it. The end result was the passing of Carlos the filmmaker. I wonder if they'll ever, make a film about that. Something to be aware of anytime you are traveling or visiting a new location, somewhere you've never been before, is to find out what the local wildlife are, if you're likely to encounter them. Find out what their breeding season is, when their calving season or babying season is, because those are the two times that they are going to be at their most concerning. That's when you have the hormones in overdrive, both of those times. Other than that, let's just not annoy animals that are so much crazily larger than us, right? I think that's a pretty simple, easy one that we can all do, right? So, if you liked this video and you want more bloodthirsty animal content, be sure to hit that subscribe right now. I am here Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Bye. His bike is laying quite a bit of ways, and I guess that I guess giraffes have a very identifiable hoof pattern or mark, or maybe it was the amount of damage. I don't know. I just know that they thought it was probably a giraffe.